Welcome to the Living Fabulously Fierce podcast, a shared space for honing in on living with aim. That's authenticity, intention, and mindfully masterful execution. All of this as we journey through the ongoing life process of self-discovery, self-definition, and self-distinction. I'm your host, Farah Bernier, Human Resources Strategy Executive, and certified coach working with fabulously fierce individuals just like you across the globe. Join me as I share coaching tips and resources that you can apply to your own journey to living fabulously fierce. Do keep in mind, while I'm here for you and we'll take on this journey together, this is not meant to be a substitute for live coaching engagements. To find out more about coaching options one-on-one, you've got a few considerations. Feel free to visit www.farahbernier.com, or you can email me at farahbernier@gmail.com. And of course, the Living Fabulously Fierce handle on Instagram is always at your disposal. That's at Living Fabulously Fierce on Instagram. With that, as always, I'm so excited to be here with you today. So let's jump into today's session. Welcome back to the Living Fabulously Fierce podcast. And for those who are listening in season, I'm so excited to say Happy New Year. And at the point at which this is being recorded, it is January 7th, 2026, which makes this exactly a year from the California, Los Angeles wildfires. The fire that really changed the course of my California experience, my 2025, and honestly, so much more to be determined. I am believing that it is for more good than it is bad, for more gain than it is loss. I really didn't know how I was going to feel today at all. What I did know is there's so much from the year that standing today, I'm so much more grateful for. And the biggest thing is who I am. And I'm being really open and honest with you because you've been with me on this journey. You know, one of the things that came out of this fire was season 6 of the Living Fabulously Fierce podcast, in which we focused on resilience, how to build it, sustain it, and reinforce it in the middle of real challenge. Those of you who've been here, you know, I was talking to my sister Judith while I was home for the holidays for Christmas, and she reflected back to me, Farah, I just remember when you said you couldn't find a mushwa, like you had to buy a mushwa, such a necessary everything thing. For those who don't know what a mushwa is, it's a night scarf. It's a scarf we wear to sleep. And I'd realized when I lost every single one, including the one that my grandmother gave me, which I cherished so much, that I'd never bought one. I'd never purchased one. I'd always been given a mushwa. I'd been gifted them. And now I had to buy one and I couldn't find one. Which speaks so much to our culture too, which makes me really, it's special. But all of that in the midst of real challenge, because resilience matters. It mattered last year more than ever before for me. And I know resilience is what kept me standing. You know, I was with my Hoffman group earlier this week. Thank you, Ash, just last night, actually. Thank you, Ash, for hosting us and having us go through, you know, our reflections through the year. And I found that resilience had played such a huge part. So no regrets whatsoever, very honestly. But the opportunity now is I don't have to rest or rise in resilience. Resilience is not the destination. It's not the end point, because resilience requires a great deal. It really does. But the opportunity right now is joy. Joy, to me, is an opportunity to shift from resilience to flow, from resilience to flow in abundance of all good things that you have to seize, that you can draw into you. It's not passive. Happiness can be passive. In my opinion, happiness is at the affect of things, at the affect of circumstances, situations, experiences. But joy, in the words of Tracy Ellis Ross, who I'm going to say it now, one day I hope to have on the Living Fabulously Fierce podcast, joy has legs. Joy has legs. I work at it. These are her words. It's not something you can get at 7-Eleven. It's not just something you could pick up. My interpretation of what she said is that it has to be cultivated. And I believe that. I have believed that since my days at Boston College, which is where I learned the difference between happiness and joy, at our Kairos retreat. I do want to call out that joy is not performative, at least not for me. Joy is not let me just pass by, see if I can get some. It's a grounding, it's an embodiment. And that's another thing that has come out of this really hard situation for me. I feel that I have become more intentional about my grounding, more proactive about my sense of self, knowing who I am, and trusting myself. I thought I had trust in myself before. Man, oh man, do I have trust in myself now. Even at the recording of this, for those of you who are watching, I am standing feet planted. I have more of an intentional, proactive decision making, even in the little things I'm intentional about. And I'm living now with even more intention, in alignment, not survival. One of the questions that Ash asked us, you guys know Ash, she was my co-host for some of the episodes last season. She asked, what are you releasing in 2026? And it was so easy for me. I didn't expect that, but what was easy for me to release is this constant mode of movement. And let me explain. Last year, I was very much in a mode of, I gotta do this. I gotta figure this out. Nobody's coming for me. Nobody's gonna figure this stuff out for me. I gotta get through all of this so that I am not crushed by this. And in that, I was constantly moving. For those who have been here, let me remind you. For those who are new, let me tell you. 6 months before January 7th, 2025, I'd started a new job. 2 months after that, I moved from Northern California to Southern California. I moved into temporary housing. From that temporary executive housing, I moved, truly blessing, truly a blessing. 3 months later, into a beautiful home that I could not have November 1st, moved into a new home. Moved into that home, and every day I was excitedly planning and preparing for my family to come spend the holidays. There's a lot that goes into that. Constant movement. Moving. They came. It was an extraordinary time. They left. I was resetting. And then I was at a reset, a loss. And my entire 2025 was spent moving day to day to day, focused on progressing from loss to repositioning, grounding, to standing firm, to transacting so much, to defending myself, protecting myself, to making sure nothing that could be additionally lost by not paying attention to deadlines, by not paying attention to requirements, all the things did not happen. I was constantly moving. I was in a state of survival. September of last year, it's interesting, 9 months later, I remember waking up and feeling like I'm breathing again. See, I was moving so much that I was out of breath, if you will, and didn't even realize. I had forgotten how to breathe and didn't even realize. I knew I wasn't in flow, but I didn't realize that I was at the affect of so much other flow. I was in survival mode. I was in resilience mode. And at the end of September, starting to regain myself, I committed. It's time to shift to joy, from resilience to joy. And funny, 2 weeks later, got invited to the C-Suite Summit, where the theme was resilience to joy. Crazy. And then got to meet Wisdom Powell, who focused on resilience, and Tiffany Joy, who is CEO and founder of Joyful Nation. There's a picture of me in between. Like when I say mine boggled, I'll have to post a picture of the three of us on our Living Fabulously Fierce handle on Instagram. So please check it out, like it, follow. But with that, over the next 11 episodes here, I'm going to be walking you through what I call the journey of shifting from resilience to joy. It's comprised of truly 6 movements. And what's really important for us to understand is that this is about accepting what we've been, what we've had to be, but not accepting that as default, right? I really had to be resilient. The season called for it. I had to be that person for myself. And I don't begrudge it, but I'm not accepting it as default. Instead, together, we're setting an intentional destination over default doctrine. The destination now is joy. Like this is the mode. 1, because it is the intention of our journey. We are due joy. We can live this life joyfully with joy. So in this season, I am holding this season 7, as an invitation for us to uphold the truth that joy is actually, it's not the reward for survival. It's the way of living and leading, if we so choose. I'm choosing this. Even with today, it's early, but so many people have reached out and texted and checked in, who all the best of intentions. So I am grateful, truly. And different people than last year, which is also a learning and a blessing. But what I'm rubbing up against transparently is that event, that happening, that tragedy, that traumatic experience, it is not the definition of Farah Bernier. It doesn't mean I get to just shut it away. That's not healthy. But it's not the definition of me. It does not define me. And so I am choosing joy, and I'm so glad you're here with me in this. And with that, we're going to begin. Last episode, we focused in on identity. So we jumped into identity. So for those of you, I've been getting notes that some of you focus in taking notes. So if you're taking in notes, I want you to have a page at the front of all your notes from this season. And I want you to track with me. So number 1 of season 7 is jumping into identity. And what we honed in on in that episode, for those of you who haven't listened, please do go back and listen. But through challenge that requires us to operate in resilience, there's so much we learn about ourselves. So we have to take the opportunity to embrace that. And from there, there is a shift in who we are. It doesn't mean we're changed. Yes, that's possible. It is possible that there is a change, but that's not really the end all be all. For me, it's been a shifting. I'm still Farah, but there's so much more of me. What I would say is there is an enhancement of all of me in my identity now. So from all of that, we can accept that we are either now set up to outgrow survival still, right? Or we are actually already there. I think I'm somewhere in between. There's still stuff that has to get done. Thank God my plans have now been approved for building. So we're moving into planning for build mode. I'm still living in temporary housing. Full transparency, every now and then, there are moments where I'm like, how did I get here? I'm supposed to be, air quotes, living in this beautiful house with this beautiful view that I couldn't have imagined, waking up to the sound of those beautiful birds chirping outside my window, looking at a garden that I didn't build, I'm not a gardener, clearly, with all these fruits that I didn't even know some of them. Some fruits that grow in California I have literally never seen before. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. To now in an apartment that was not of my choosing. There's nothing wrong with that, but this is so different. And so sometimes I am kind of in survival mode. Again, resilience can save us. It saved me last year. It helps us get through seasons that we may not have chosen, systems that don't see us, and circumstances that require strength for us just to even stay upright. Oh, whew. There were a few times last year, friends, family, my coach, all said, Farah, most people would be in the fetal position. And I think resilience is what got me to not rest there and stay there. Wisdom. Again, but survival is not permanent. It's not supposed to be the mode for all time. There comes a moment when what we once acknowledged as protection starts to limit us. When the armor that has kept us safe becomes the thing that actually keeps joy at a distance. One of the questions that also came up in our Tuesday night Hoffman session together is, something unexpected that I'm grateful for. When I tell you that there was so much love that came my way that was unexpected, in ways that I didn't know I needed, and in ways I did not know I could have. Resilience played a part, but if I let resilience reinforce an armor of safety, I am keeping joy at a distance, and I'm at even more of a loss. So this season, this episode really is about that mental point of number 2, outgrowing survival. So 1 was jumping into identity. 2 is outgrowing survival. It doesn't mean we pretend what was wasn't. It doesn't mean that we're forgetting about it. But it means that we recognize that we don't have to live there anymore as the whole of our existence. I will have moments of survival, but survival is not my life. My life now is about joy. And the way to do that in outgrowing survival is to release what you've had to be. I had to be strong last year. I had to operate with a level of strength I didn't know that I had, and I didn't know I would need. I'm releasing that. I get to be soft now. I'm releasing the fact that I had to be in constant coping mode. I was in constant coping mode. I am releasing that. Am I still coping? 100%. 100%. The beginning of the year came with torrential downpour here in Southern California. That's a whole thing. Torrential downpour. Within the first 5, 7, torrential downpour. So Sunday was the 5th. So we surpassed records for rain. What? And a year ago we were in complete and utter drought, so much so a fire. I will have moments of coping, but I'm not coping anymore. I was in a constant mode of readiness, so much so I've not shared this, but for about a month or so after everything, I could not sleep in a bed. At the hotel, I slept on the couch. I would shift into the bedroom, but I couldn't really sleep in the bed. It wasn't until I was at my mentor and friend's place in San Francisco that she said, you just need to come. Just come, just be there, just be. And I told her about not being able to be in a bed. She said, okay, try this bed. Just try the bed at some point. Promise me, even if you start on the couch, you fall asleep, wake up at some point, get up, go to the bed, and thank God. She said that because it was the best sleep after everything that I'd had, that I needed. And I remember sharing this with the therapist I was working with at the time, and she said, well, yeah, you're staying at the ready. I was in a constant mode of readiness. What I'm staying ready for now is flow and abundance of all good things. But I don't have to be in that survival mode of constant readiness. And the reason this is so important for our second step in the journey of shifting from resilience to joy, of outgrowing survival, is because joy actually requires space. It requires space. And before we can step into it, we have to make room. To make room requires release. We gotta let go of things. We gotta let go of pieces of who we are, who we've been, and how we've been operating. I'm in the mode of doing that, So this is about release. Outgrowing survival. Step number 2, outgrowing survival, is about letting go of who you had to be to survive. I'm letting go of coping. I'm letting go of survival. I'm letting go of staying on guard at the ready. I'm letting go of the armor. So I want you to do the exercise of naming what is it in your life that has kept you safe, that has been your mode of resilience, that you are thinking, that you're operating with gratitude for, that you have appreciation but you're choosing that it no longer gets to lead. You're not throwing it out, okay? It served you. You're not abandoning it. You're not pretending it didn't serve you, but you're no longer letting it lead. Give it a different role, a different place. Decide what roles, coping patterns, and identities that were built in your fire you're releasing. What are you releasing? And in that release, know that you're creating the space that joy requires. And that once this feeling of outgrowing survival really hits you, this will be more seamless. But you can practice the releasing by even thinking about this one question to help you start. What are you still carrying in the mode of resilience that has already done its job, that you can thank for doing its job, that you can own with gratitude and appreciation, and accept that you are outgrowing its operating model as the lead in your life? And as we continue this journey together, know that as a result of this, you are making space for joy, and you're shifting to the joy that we all deserve to experience, to have, to own, to cultivate, to craft in the way that we need it. And there's nothing wrong with that. As always, I am so grateful for your presence with me here in this way. I do not take your attention for granted. You can give it elsewhere, so many different options. That's not lost on me. So every minute you're with me here in the Living Fabulously Fierce podcast, I am grateful and I thank you. And with that, I am wishing you a fabulous week ahead and hoping that you continue to stay fierce. And if you have any questions, thoughts, reflections about anything shared here today in my own journey and the reflection exercise that you have in this journey of resilience to joy, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love hearing from you, and we'll reconnect in the next episode.